Gonna do what we did last time, I think, except not talk about so much about politics, because I can get into a thing about politics, just all up in there about politics. Stupid stuff. People, like, doing stupid shit. And other people, like, why are you doing this stupid shit? It's like, that's politics. All right. Let's talk about relaxing. Let's talk about taking it down a notch. Like, relax. Just like whatever makes you feel comfortable. I guess that's positive. You know, it's positive. Not whatever you consider positive, I guess, but what is actually positive. There is no real opinions on what is actually positive. Being healthy towards your emotions and towards yourself. Making yourself a good old pot of what's the word? Emotional recovery, I guess, and then quieting down for a little bit. What makes you relaxed? I don't really want to get into it. I mean, for myself, which makes me relax is actually doing this sometimes, playing video games and playing the stupid kind, like the ones that are kind of like violent and dumb, but it relaxes me. It gives my hands something to do. It gives my mind something to focus on. And it gives my eyes something to look at. So I'm seeing different things. So I try to what's the word? I try to focus on something every day, and that relaxes me. I try to focus on doing art or doing pretty much anything that will keep me my inner mind very in sync, I guess.
Look out!
Anything like that. Because I mean, and if I've talked about relaxing before, know that you don't just do it once. So probably the reason why I'm talking about it again. You need to take a break every once in a while. And,
come on, lady! Don't fight!
And also, sometimes people don't have that luxury. So make sure you have a job that actually lets you relax. Take it easy every once in a while. You know? Or if you have a job that doesn't, then you need to petition your boss and be like, kind of need this. Kind of need this at all times. Yeah, I'm gonna jump out. Come on, jump out. Oh, what the fuck, dude? Oh, you can't jump out when you're in mid-jump. There we go. Alright, but yeah, making sure you're relaxed and your state of mind is fluid, and that you're not holding on to any hurt emotions or stupid things, I guess. Realizing that every time you hold on to something inside your emotions, you're not relaxing. I've realized that sometimes I was tensing up my body, and I mean, sometimes it was good for me, and sometimes it wasn't. I realized that my emotions are something that that I look forward to, and are kind of like what's the word? Tensing up and relaxing a lot of different muscle groups and different things like that to try to exercise a little bit more. But also too is clogging up my emotional pathways to being able to just like let go every once in a while. And the thoughts that I would use sometimes to be able to do that were detrimental to me. And I mean, that's like, sometimes we use different negative or positive thoughts to be able to tense up certain groups of muscles in your brain or your body, and but also too, you need to be able to differentiate the thought itself and an action that you're doing related to the thought, but not actually. Like your sense of urgency sometimes is affected. Oh wait, yeah. This live stream is brought to you by not brought to you by. I do not have any sponsors. Monster Energy, Assassin's Creed Origins, in video game systems, somewhat now, probably at some point during this year. Oh. I'm not really up to date on it because I don't worry about games that are actually coming out. I just wait till they come out and then I buy them.
Forgive me, sweetheart.
What the fuck is this?
No way!
It's like I'm a nerd to the point where I really like video games, but I'm not gonna like sit there and be like, oh my god, I can't wait till it comes out. And be like, yeah, I can't wait till it comes out. That'd be like really tight, good. I'm not gonna like hinge on every single aspect of it because I have other things in my life. Not to say that I'm like cooler nerd or something like that, or anything. I'm just like, because I do other stuff too that's really nerdy, because that's the reason why I keep my time filled. So, and also I exercise too. Did a lot of exercise today. Was working on some stuff. Doing a rose for my mom. She likes that stuff. And also doing a sword thing. That's what I do to relax sometimes. I like to do artwork. And
Shit.
thought I was gonna do it.
Oh, you screwed up my car!
But yeah, relaxing. It's like the opposite of what this game this game insinuates.
Don't act like a tough guy! Mother!
Alright, let's see what we can do now.
I'm sorry about
Ran over that chopper guy. Alright, when you relax it, I mean, it takes different kinds of people to relax, I guess, in different ways. So, I mean, it doesn't take different kinds of people, but it takes yourself to be able to be aware of your own emotions sometimes. So it takes a lot of people to be able to relax sometimes. Your full body sometimes needs to relax. Sometimes because my joints are cracked sometimes. I really need a supplement. So I'm taking like healthy supplements sometimes to get stuff in. Bo, get that out of your mouth. Do not eat that. Quit eating that, Bo. Come here. Do not eat that. I know you. I'm gonna take it. Give me that. Alright, thank you, Bo. But yeah, it takes your full body and your entire mind to be able to relax. People don't understand that sometimes. That in order to be able to make sound decisions, you have to be able to monitor your heart rate, whatever else you need to monitor, your mind wandering in different directions. It takes focus to be able to relax and be able to come up with something positive. And also, once you relax and you're able to focus yourself and your entire body and your entire mind on something, you'll perform a lot better. Because if you're holding something in, or if you're thinking about something constantly, I've noticed this by experience. If you're thinking about something constantly, you're not relaxed. I mean, if you're constantly judging yourself on something, or like judging another person, because I mean, or judging another person, I mean, because of what you're doing, it's like it's just stupid, I guess. It's just stupid to do. So there you go, bro. That's your toy. Alright, I can't play with you because I'm doing the live stream right now. But put it up. Alright, I mean, judging into how you're able to relax, I mean, whatever gets you there, I guess. You could take candles, you could take breathing exercises, you could take a bubble bath, you could take soak for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, meditation. You could take something fun, I guess. Something you haven't done before, maybe start maybe into it. And not to say that, like, I mean, like, you've done that before, but like, think about it. Think about doing something spontaneous to make you relax. Think about something that, you know, like, not like it takes anything, but it's something you haven't done, like, in a while, maybe. Like something you haven't had to pick up or something, had to put down because of busyness or something like that. But also to realize that you're not always busy all the time. I mean, I've had to constantly look at myself in the mirror and say, you're better than this. You can do better than this. And positive reinforcement, no matter what's going on around you. No matter what kind of pressure is going on inside your head or around you, realize that positive reinforcement is the best key to anything. Reinforcing yourself, positively reinforcing and saying different things. Quit it, Bo. Saying different things that'll help you along the way. Saying you're good enough. Saying you're better than this. Saying you can do this, or you can do something. To be able to help yourself. Bo, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to throw this for you. I'm doing something right now. Also too, I thought that was a chick at first. Alright. Alright. Don't care about the money. Alright, being, what you want for yourself is more of a relaxing connotation that you can take and use basically for yourself. Making slowing your heart rate at any case to make you more relaxed. Being less frustrated about the situation. Not to say not caring about the situation more, not caring about the situation less, but caring about the situation at a healthy level. Because I mean, like you may like be you're like a quarterback on a freaking football team or something like that. That needs like constant I'd say like you relax constantly. You don't relax constantly. Realize that come here. Realize that that you're gonna constantly need that. You're gonna constantly need something to fall back on, something to be back on. and I gotta get off that beam on the couch because it's making my dick go numb. Alright, being what you really want to be in life can also make you relaxed. Having an emotional awakening, an emotional ascendance, or ascension, not ascendance.
Move, let's move.
Completely different. There's a burp. An emotional awakening, realizing that stuff isn't as heavy as you thought it would be, and merely you were putting the pressure on yourself through different things. Realizing that sometimes you can just kind of let go, I guess, of all the pressure in your life. I'm not saying that you should stop caring about other people, but caring about yourself more is a definite thing that you need to do, because, I mean, what you're going to notice is other people care about themselves more too, you know? And they want you to care about yourself enough to be able to make yourself into something that you want to be, you know? So, be more relaxed, care about yourself more, and so why do you have that piece of paper that you're chewing up? I'll pick it up later. I'm not taking things into like, I mean, I know that the paper product that Bill has, the dog, is not going to kill him, you know? So, it doesn't really matter to me what I do with it, and, I guess, I'm not going to worry about it that much right now, because, you know.
This is total bullshit! Ooh, too close!
Also understanding that, that what you have to do for yourself is look at every situation with new eyes, you know? See every situation with new eyes, and when you get a new concept, to be able to see through it. To be able to see to it. It's like when you compound all the experiences you've ever had, if no one shares it with those experiences with you, if no one shares those experiences with you, it can seem kind of lonely. But understandably so, you're going to be lonely for a big portion of your life if you decide to be lonely when those in-between moments start to happen. Realize that you have to be comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable with being alone. Especially if you're working on a project, especially if you're working on something on your own. Realize that you're not everything is going to work to a career. Not everything is going to be working to anything. I mean everything works to your experience with something that you really want to do, obviously. But no one's going to pay you to be able to work on your hobby or be able to work on yourself, you know? So, I mean, it's easier to not work on yourself and to not do certain things up to par the way you want them to be. But understand that it's not going to help to be able to make yourself into a better person later on in life when... It's not going to help to be able to turn yourself into a better person when you're busy on a job, when you're busy on something. So take some time to yourself. Don't just throw your life away and be like, I want to become more relaxed, and like what? Like, don't throw away your job. You're doing a great job no matter what you're doing. So, but I mean, realize that you found a way to be able to make yourself relax through certain parts of your or certain aspects of your job. And if those parts are lacking now, then you don't need to throw away your entire career to be able to make yourself into a new person. You see those movies and stuff like that everybody talks about, and they're like, oh well. I know I sounded like a textbook stupid person, or a textbook person that is set in their ways, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess who they sound like. I'm guessing how they sound like. be more accepting of yourself. To be like, you thought that that was a good idea when you started. It doesn't always have to be that way when you're ending up doing something, or when you're doing something a certain way. Be more accepting of yourself, and don't expect too much from your own background to be able to help you with the things that you need to be able to fix. Because, like, I mean, everybody says, is like, oh my god, how many experiences I had, and all these different things, you know, man, you know what I did, you know what I went through, and everyone's going to tell you that, because everyone's going to have a story, and everyone wants a story because they think they sound more interesting when they say it.
Oh, man!
And when you're in a job, or when you're in a certain place, be more attentive to someone. If they need something, be more, like, nice, I guess. Okay, I don't know.
We are airborne and en route.
Don't try to
Damn!
no matter how much pressure's on you, realize that there's pressure on you. Don't try to act like the pressure is just gonna somehow relinquish itself once someone asks like a hard ass. I mean, I'm not saying that like, I mean, and within that I never was able to go into the military. so I don't understand what it's like to be constantly yelled at or constantly done through for like 30 to 40 days. I mean, and then like somehow that person respects you because they yelled at you. But I mean, I don't really understand that motive or that measure. So okay, we're gonna keep on going. Realizing that, oh shit, I should have turned immediately as soon as I saw that thing, but I only saw it move and then it shot. So relaxing is all about being able to be in the moment, but being able to be comfortable inside of your own body, comfortable inside of yourself. So even if there's like this stupid noise or something like that that's affecting you, even if you're technically being tortured across seas because of something that you know or something that you don't know, be able to look past something. Be able to look past something or someone, past an experience, and you'll be able to see something that you never thought possible. Realize that that you're not out here to do anyone any favors, you know? You're not out anywhere to do anyone any favors. Realize that and I know it sounds weird, but once you realize that you're not out anywhere for anyone else's well-being but your own, it's easier to handle things. It is kind of easier because you'll understand that that through different let's say through different pathways inside your own brain, through different pathways inside your own mind and your body, you'll be able to pick apart situations and help yourself little bit by little bit to be able to understand that no, I mean, it's not going to happen in a day. You're not going to be able to practice everything that you learn about relaxing and about being able to hold yourself in certain situations in one day. And it's going to take some time, but being able to relax your entire body and your entire mind to be able to let wisdom and I know it sounds weird. I mean, it's like mentalism, I guess. But understanding that your brain works better when you're not tensing up your body. That realizing that that you have experiences and you have that experience for a reason is hey, how's it going? What? Yeah. That's what happens when you have the door open and stuff like that. I didn't need it. It's fine. Yeah. I don't have napkins lying around. I cleaned up the garage and I moved some stuff around, and Bo ate what was left of what I was cleaning. So, it's not exactly my fault, but it's kind of my fault. No, I was never even here when the vodka was right there. So, all right. So, understanding that you'll never be more than what you really want to be if you don't give yourself the credit. Like if you keep not to say that if you keep insulting yourself, that because some people don't even think about it as insults. Because I've done that before. I've called myself kind of stupid, or say that I'm an idiot, or I'm an asshole, or something like that. But only to express a notice of dislike about something. Like I don't like saying stuff about things, or to notice that I've made a mistake or something like that. To know that I don't find anything wrong with the word, because it's just a word. It's not like gonna push me or bring me into the ground. You know, it's just a word. So. And also, if I do give that word any sort of meaning over me, then I won't be able to use it. So, yeah, it's just a word. So, and that's why I believe in freedom of speech, but I don't go around saying curse words and bad words and stuff like that. Because other people have meanings for those words, and they haven't fully registered the fact that words are pretty much meaningless as far as anything but communication tools. And who gives a shit what people think? Other people, because they give a shit, about themselves. So why would you care about how they think, and it not affect your world, Okay, here we go. We're gonna go down, but we need to put a helmet on. There we go. Put a helmet on. Good. Alright. Oh shit. Nice. Alright, I just hit my teeth with a blunt of a can. But understandably so. You're not gonna I'm talking about a stranger, but I'm not talking about the people who you hold dear, or the people who you like, or something like that. People who you think you care about what they think. And also, it's hard to actually care about a different person once you start caring about another. It's hard to think about what that person means to you if you've just met. And I just farted, but relaxing is all about being able to feel like you have some sort of sameness in the world, even though you're different. Because even though you may be different from everyone else, or you maybe have a difference from everything else, because you are different from everything and everyone else. You are an individual. You are also like everyone else and everything else, because you are also carbon-based. You have different qualities and different looks and different aspects of the same genome, I guess, or different genomes, or whatever kind of genome you feel as though you were part of this millennia. But also too, taking into consideration that pretty much all of it is meaningless, I guess. Not to say that it's completely meaningless, but what it means to you fades, and also to but the fact is that if you're completely relaxed and one with yourself, and able to read those situations about yourself, you'll be able to see things a little bit more clearly, I guess. Not to say that you'll like be one with the universe or something like that, because it takes time to actually be one with the universe. It takes a lot of time to be one with the thing that is for the center of our universe. It takes a lot of meditation to be able to do that stuff. And I'm not saying that it's unrealistic, because why put barriers in front of you when there's already so many obstacles that everyone else puts? So, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's reachable. I'm just saying that why would you want to act like something is unattainable when you can just act like it and then eventually get there? I mean, you act like you want a job in retail or fashion or anything like that, but I mean, you don't try to act like oh shit.
Oh, crap.
You don't try to act like or fashion or like or any kind of thing, I guess. Understanding math theorems or understanding plays in a playbook. You act like you want to be a football player sometimes. Because I acted like I want to be a football player, even though I never really had the heart. So, I mean, its futileness in my life was probably the biggest catalyst to me actually wanting to take care of myself. So, and also, football is like really detrimental to your health. So, like wanting to do that, and also, wanting to do that, and also trying to I'd say wanting to do that, and also wanting to be able to make yourself better, while at the same time trying to I just had orange chocolate. It was fucking delicious. Some people don't like it, but I think it's really good. It's like eating a chocolate Starburst. It's fucking delicious. Also, raspberry chocolate's freaking delicious too, and also like dark chocolate. All right, stop talking about chocolate. All right, realizing that that you're not. Some people believe they're healthy sometimes, and they're not. You know, like I don't know. They believe that certain things will bring them like something like a dietary supplement, like all beef or whatever stuff. I mean, I've seen this before on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. It's like you know what eventually happens to your body, right? It's like your body starts to meld in that certain reflex, but it still doesn't make the muscle, because it's trying to find the best, the easiest way to get there. That's what your mind and your body do, okay? Your mind and your body make the easiest pathways to get back to something which it once was. So they think that somehow if you make a conscious choice to be able to take pictures and stuff like that and different stuff for yourself. So eventually, what happens in your old age, you have the tone of a 26-year-old, but eventually you don't have the strength, nor do you have the stuff to be able to walk or to be able to do different things, because you didn't really find that stuff extremely useful because you never went anywhere, because all you did was run around and do different things like that. So that's what your body does. Understanding your body and understanding that your body tries to get back, but just like your mind tries to make the easiest pathway to be able to get to a certain point. Like, it doesn't really care about the formula that much that you made, so much so as the answer that you got from that formula. So like, if you practice an entire life of doing constant formula after constant formula to be able to get a certain answer, your body and your mind won't care about the formula, but it will only care about the answer. Because that is what you got, which made you famous, is the answer. Well, it's the formula that got you there. So, also realizing that that eventually your body shuts down on you, because that's the reason why it constantly wants the easiest answer, because it knows that it's finite. So when you're out there doing stuff, when you're out there doing football and acting like it's going to be forever, acting like it's going to be the most everful thing or the most eventful thing that'll ever happen in your entire life, like you cry when the Super Bowl happens. And it's like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't cry when the Super Bowl happens, because it's a pretty big deal, but also too, remember that there are going to be other experiences in your life that'll be thousands and thousands of times better, like the birth of your daughter, or like the birth of your son, or the birth of anything, like the birth of your nieces, your nephews, the birth of anything that's important, the birth of yourself. I mean, realize that you were once that kind of small thing. Realize that you were once that kind of thing, and you wanted something. You wanted something out of life, and that's the reason you came here. Realize that technically we're all aliens. So, I mean, like, we're all just figments of someone's imagination waiting to happen. So, we were all just figments of someone's imagination waiting to happen. Not just someone, but many people as a group. So, I mean, because I'm not saying anything about creationism, but understandably so, we started out as an idea and an amoeba. So, because they wanted something. Two people that came together and had enough elements inside of their own body to be able to make a tiny version of themselves. They wanted to make something together. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you can do that, but it means that somehow, some way, you'll be able to one day. Even in making something just with your hands, realize that those things are alive. Like the idea that came into your life was alive. It was you, basically telling, or was a part of you saying that you should be able to do something with yourself. And I find that relaxing, because it's fun to think about that kind of stuff, to me. It's fun to think about the different possibilities that could be. It brings me a lot of joy, and also the emotion of everything. It's really, really, like, advantageous to your own psyche to think about, like, about how so many people's emotions and everything can culminate into a project or an idea. Realize that as an idea, that thing was alive. That as an idea, that thing inside of you had a breath. and that in itself transcends what life means to anyone or anything. Like the first person to ever come up with football, or the first person to ever come up with a comic book idea, or the name of comic books, or the name of anything. That idea had a breath. That idea made something. And if a child is made from that idea, then that child may not be the epitome of anything, but it may be the epitome of you culminating that idea to fruition. And that's what kind of relaxes me and makes me feel like there's hope for everything and everyone. People judge too quickly sometimes when it comes to anyone's existence or non-existence. And like, okay, say for instance this. There may be a dude out there that's obsessed with underwear. He's into fetishes underwear, he's just into underwear. Like, he smells it. Like, you don't, not like dirty underwear all the time, but literally just underwear. He's obsessed with crotches and everything. Like, and then you want to watch an artist render something, like naked woman or naked man or anything like that. An artist rendering of that. Like a real artist. Now I'm not talking about like a hentai artist, like a dude drawing a huge, like, comically large penis, or just like a vagina that folds out like a goddamn origami or some shit like that. But I'm talking about real stuff. I'm talking about like a person really rendering an entire person's body to be able to form fit an entire suit around their entire body. Imagine how useful that is. Imagine how useful people are that think about constant just wants and urges and different things like that, like about people. Like, those people eventually become psychiatrists and psychologists and even forensic psychologists, or forensic pathologists. Think of how useful those people are. Or think about how every time your mind goes to the worst possible case or scenario. Think about how those people can eventually go into risk management, or eventually, even if they've never seen a day of college, and this is real, because there is an completely untapped potential of people who have not gone to college, and I think that our society and our economy could benefit from literally every single person that has those weird, dumb thoughts out there, or even just moderate thoughts, like saying that there has to be a constant for everything, or that has to be a constant, or mathematicians, for instance, or anything like that, saying that there has to be a constant for something. Like, eventually they could get into cause there are so many different careers out there that do the same thing every single day, and people are actually fit for that sometimes. I mean, the same thing every single day. I mean, and sometimes people find solace in it, or sameness or oneness in it. Like anything that you find relaxing, I guess, realize that could one day be your thing. You could be the thing that makes you billions and billions of dollars. Like the guy that made a zip tie was thinking about constant. He didn't just think about one day. Like, he didn't just think about one day. It was like, what about this bread thing? No, he was studying everything. When you study things, you can come up with so many different safety things, so many different opportunities for different people, or even your own family, your own friends. I'm trying to navigate through a story that is constantly going through my head, and I'm constantly trying to make it like less and less and less about what I read the other day, or I mean, I still have the bios of every single character like in my head, just constantly bouncing around and constantly moving around and inside of my head, constantly trying to come up with different things or different areas or different things inside of my mind to be able to make a story that doesn't mimic the amount of story that's happened all too often before in like Marvel or Capcom or anything like that, because it was originally inspired by those things, and I made it up when I was 13. So I mean, like, there's so many different things that you could constantly just be. I mean, and that's the reason why I stopped writing for a little while. I wanted to be inspired by something else, because I didn't want to make my story exactly the same as other people's stories. And also too, I don't want to make it too generic or too just like spitballing or something like that. I don't want to make it like that. I don't want to like constantly think that like everyone has to be traumatized by each little bit of something, because if you think about it, like I want to make fluid characters that know who they are or how they're doing things, and I want to make like a fluid story too, that once it doesn't seem too choppy or it seem like the events are happening because of each other. I mean, even though that the story does roll out a little bit like that, but I want each event to be able to have an originalness, like it's happening for the first time. And also, like in cinema, that it may be happening for the first time, because if it's ever adapted to movie, then I'm probably gonna have to change the entire thing anyways. But that's what relaxes me. Thinking about what I'm going to do next with any project or anything. That's what makes me feel better about myself. And it's what makes me feel better about anything that I'm doing. I don't like to think about politics or stupid shit or any kind of dumbness or any kind of sameness or oneness. I might actually throw something in there that's political, but I'm not going to try to make it about every single story or try to make it about everything that I'm actually coming up with, because I don't want to be inspired by politics or anything that's happening during the time. I want it to be a different time, so everyone has a perspective to be able to be like, you know what, you don't have to think about this bullshit every day. You don't have to think about what people are going to do with things that they have every single day. And you can think about something else besides that, and that person can think about something else. I mean, granted, if they're messing with a nuclear bomb or a nuclear core, then obviously they're not going to be thinking about anything else except containing that nuclear core. But when they're not thinking about something can relax that person. Thinking about something else can make that person not so angry about someone in their vicinity that they want to use that core on. Or relaxing that person may be the key to being able to make that person not want to be threatening to someone who is along their border or anything like that. Because not thinking about politics is what got politics to the way it was, or the way it should have been. Not thinking about politics or thinking about the way you treat other people was the thing that got us to a point to where you didn't think about whether or not a person was Democratic or Republican. You just thought about whether or not that person has your back, and whether or not that person was able to be a good influence on your children, or even a good influence to yourself. Not thinking about politics is what will get anyone away from being able to think better about human rights or even people's the bettering of society of people as a whole, because the only reason why we would ever think society is alive is because we're lying to ourselves and each other. So I mean, that's what relaxes me. That's what relaxes me. It's thinking about a project or thinking about something that I can put my attention to, that eventually people could pay attention to. And not think about their lives for a little while. And relax them. To be able to go back to those things. And be like, wow, I feel completely different. Or, that would be amazing to me. So, and maybe it's not as complicated as that. Or maybe I'm not being as complicated as I should be. Or maybe I'm being non-simplistic in something that I've found out to be a little bit too simplistic. Wait, hold on. But we're gonna blow something up. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna see if I can, there we go, yeah, okay. Alright, let's see, one. Okay. There we go. Alright, 25. There we go. Alright. Alright, we're gonna see if we can jump it, but in the middle of jumping it, I'm gonna press the explode button. It's gonna be so tight. Alright, jump in the train. Realize that that one day people are going to think individualistically. They're not going to think like, oh my god, there's so many women out there that are doing stuff in clubs. Who cares? Dude, there was once a time where women had to run from persecution because there were people out there that were trying to kill them constantly every single day. Because they had a style, or they like to keep dead things, or ferment things, or make wines, or anything like that, or study dead bodies. I mean, obviously there weren't many sanctions on that back then, so they probably did study dead bodies, but also to maybe had a little bit of a thing for dead bodies. So that's probably why they hunted them. But also to realize that shit. We didn't get to do that. I got put underwater. But also to sometimes that was actually garnished and made up by people who were actually hunting them, coming up with the reason by trying to be able to come up with something to demonize, to be able to come in for office, because they wanted something to work towards, and they found themselves working towards nothing. So eventually they tried to do different things with other people and go with them about those things. And things were complicated, but they were stupidly simple when people came to like actually and also oh wait, shit.
Sorry, but I need this.
Oh! You son of a bitch!
What is this bullshit?
Yay, finally a woman actually hits me. Tightness. I have to go all the way out to the freaking country to do that, though. Just go to your car. Okay. 5, T. Awesome. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna do something really cool then. Let's see. Awesome. Nice. It's funny. And there we go. Alright. Lighten up a night. Alright. See if we can find a freaking train and jump the train, jump the train, jump the train, jump the train, jump the train. Shit! Oh my god. That was terrible, dude. Okay, okay. We can jump it. Ah, shit. Dumbass bitch. Okay. Wait, how do I do it? Wait, let's wait. Yes. All right. That's basically what I think about most of the time, every single day, and because people didn't think about politics back in 2 AD. They didn't think about what could make them do anything, what could make them do anything. They just thought that somehow, some way, a man was trying to decide their fate. And if you think about it, back then, it was a little bit about creationism of politics. There was no such thing as a political climate. I mean, there was no such thing as people actually thinking for themselves. Sometimes they would just react. And I'm not saying that they were less evolved. I'm just saying that they didn't have a freedom to be able to do that stuff, you know? And in some cases they did. In some cases they were like, we have to think about what this stuff does to us, but they were usually in for it for something. They were usually influencing something or someone around what they wanted to do or how they wanted to do it. So I mean, the only reason why they'd be interested in that stuff is that they'd spent so much money actually doing something about it that they actually tried to be able to make something better. Yeah. I guess the only reason why I'm in something to be able to make something to make someone see something better, I guess, would be to be able to create a metaphor that anyone can get behind. And that's what I want to make, I guess. A metaphor that can be used for pretty much anything. And I am going to jump this train. It's going to be... I knew I could do it. But now I'm going to do it with this way. It's going to be fun. Alright. You only need 2. Alright. Alright, let's go. I don't need a helmet. It's probably not going to be safe. Entire journey. Alright. Let's go. Here. Alright. Damn it! It didn't want to work. Son of a bitch. Alright. I'd say that, I mean, it's a lot easier to think about what something means to you, or what a metaphor means to you when, or in a political climate where it's hard to think about anything that's entertaining. And that's kind of the reason why I want to make this. I'm not just making it for people in America.
That's one for the pot.
I want to make it to where anyone can look at it and say, that is the epitome of what I would call something that I would watch over. I don't want to make a cult classic. I want to make something that people would watch more than one time, or read more than one time, because there would be nuances of different things in there to be able to, I mean, I guess I come up with these things kind of inadvertently. And get these ideas inadvertently. So, I mean, and also I don't want to think about it too much because I know that the more that I make different things about it, the more that it becomes like everything else that's out there already. So that's kind of what I'm actually going for. I'm actually going for something that's got nuances of different things that have been out in the world already, but nothing that anyone's ever been able to pick up yet and put to a book or a film or anything like that. So, here we go. Oh, you fucker! Alright, here we go, see if I can get on it. Did not work at all. Alright, that's what I want to do with what I'm doing. And I'm not going to say anything, not even the title or the plot or anything about that. So that's what makes me relax, because I've just used it as a thing to be able to do stuff with. So to say this, what I was doing is being relaxed. I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to plug my own stuff on here. I mean, but also, I mean, plug away. I've plugged my art, so I mean, that's what I want. I want to be able to do stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the way that mainstream media has actually done anything with. So I have to do a lot of research and actually see what people have done so far, I guess, in media and different things like that. So, I mean, I don't want to be able, but I want to be able to make something, if it translates to screen, then it doesn't lose a lot of the stuff that it actually had. Because even if producers get a hold of it, or if people get a hold of it and think that they can change stuff about it, I wanted them to be able to change things about it and it still remain the same plot line or the same storyline or the same thing. Like I want them to be able to change different subsets of it, but in the same sense, I want them to be able to relate to it no matter what the subsets are. So, in essence, I want to create something that could rival the Bible, but is completely fictional. That's what I want to do. At least in sales.
Don't act like
Because
a
then
tough
I'd be
guy.
like really rich, and no matter what I came up with, I'd be like awesome and stuff. Be able to like buy whatever the hell I wanted. I mean, I wouldn't care that much about cars. I just want like a really cool house, and then like just buy get like a McDonald's, but I'd only get like healthy stuff because I like that idea. I like that idea. It's like, hey, it's gonna be like really fast, but it's like totally, there's like kale in this or something. Or like, or get my mom's recipes and like get a bunch of chefs to be able to recreate them, because I am not gonna be able to be healthy if my mom is not around.
Oh yeah, we're not going to die!
Because my mom comes up with like so many different stuff that she like so many different amazing recipes, and she doesn't follow the recipes, and she's still really good at it. So, oh wait, here we go. There we go. Another greaser like this. All right. All right. I think about that stuff all the time. I think about like if I was in a court case, what I would say to like wow the judges. I think about like if I was ever in like I don't know, if I was like in like a anything like stupid or just like not stupid, but just like but there we go. Alright. Awesome, I didn't explode, even though that there is C4 all lined on the car. did that stupid shit. Okay, but whatever makes you relaxed, how it ever makes you relaxed, I hope that you get to it, because it can change your mind about certain things. It can change your mind about the way you think, the way you've been thinking before, the way you've been thinking afterwards. Realize that you don't need that stuff to be relaxed. You don't need a certain subset or a certain mind or a certain political climate to be a relaxed person. Shit. But no one got anywhere by thinking about what they were going to do for their careers. You think any person got to that amount of status by thinking that, oh my God, I wanted to create something that could be mass-produced immediately? Do you really think they put that little amount of thought into it? Because if they wanted to do that, then they could have just made anything. They could have just made one little thing, or like if they're thinking about stuff like if they're thinking about one little tiny thing or one little aspect of something that they want to change, obviously, then that's a thing that they can do. But they're not going to come up with anything original if they don't start to study different things, or they don't start to study different people, or they don't start to study different aspects of what they're actually trying to do. So, realize that nobody got anywhere by not studying, and also you don't need to learn how to study to be able to be a good studier. It's just you have to learn how to be able to memorize things after you study them. So you're not learning how to study, you're learning how to be able to retain the information that you actually use. So realize that there are so many different ways to be able to ascertain the type of information that you want to actually get to. But also too, remember that if you study too much of the weirdest information, then probably the NSA or the CIA or the FBI might be on your tail. So if you study how much fertilizer it takes to make a dirty bomb, that's probably one of those red markers, you know. So but also realize that you're only going to be able to make one of those if you ever do look on the internet for that kind of stuff, because after you try to make it, then the FBI is going to be knocking at your fucking door. But also too, if you're in America, I guess. But also too, I mean, I don't know any other organization that is probably to stop crime in other countries would be at your fucking door. So, but also what makes you relaxed, realize that it helps you be able to change your mind in certain situations. In situations of frustration and agony, or idioticness, or just plain old stupidness, you know? Just understanding that a situation doesn't have to be a certain thing for you to be able to latch onto a certain idea about how it's affecting your life. Be able to know the knowledge to know the information that sets you apart from people trying to hurt you, or people trying to make you hurt yourself or other people. Be positive and be relaxed. So, I mean, I know I may not be like the best kind of politically incorrect or correct kind of person, but also too, don't think that any one thing is going to keep you relaxed forever. So don't think that your one religion is going to make you the most relaxed person ever, because you can think about whatever religion you want to, but I mean, it's not going to make you be able to be the person you want to be, because I mean, it's just in the olden days it was used as a conduit to be able to feel better about the unknowns and to be able to relax yourself as far as a baser level. So realize that you can't use that always as a tool to be able to make yourself want to be more relaxed or want to be anything. you have to know when to let go. You have to know when to say that, you know what, maybe this isn't the definition that I was looking for. And you have to understand when you have to understand, and I just like did amazing subset of moves there. That was awesome. Like my lid on my feet. You have to know when to hold them. You have to know when to fold them. You have to know when to walk away. You have to know when to run. And those words never meant anything to me until now. He really does know how to touch my heart. You know, I'm gonna be there. That was a 40-year-old virgin. Reference. So if you haven't seen the 40-year-old virgin, it's hilarious. And also too, that's true, I guess, extremely true. If you don't familiarize yourself with actual women's like parts, you literally will think that it's something that you've never felt before, or you've felt and realize that it takes a lot of time to be able to produce the amount of want and the amount of courage to be able to do different things, and it takes an unbelievable amount of being able to relax yourself to be able to even ascertain or make that courage available to yourself. I'd say work towards what you want to do, but also realize that eventually one day you're not going to be able to. I realize that one day your body will sag, your mind will not be as good or as fast as it once was, and that's eventually the reasons why. And I'm not saying that age takes everything, because eventually we'll find a way around that. And not to say that we're all going to become machines, but eventually we'll find a way to be able to realize our potential through not a belief system, but a science that doesn't destroy and maim or take anything apart, so we can be a part of it. I'm not saying that it had anything to do with religion, but I'm also saying that religion will probably be down for it because it doesn't destroy anyone's life. So realizing that eventually they'll be down for any science we're about to actually come up with is extremely exciting, and realize that just because you're different, or you believe in different things, or you believe in things that other people find infantile or stupid, doesn't mean that you can't both like the same stuff. Realize that just because a person doesn't have enough to be able to see the things that you see, doesn't mean that they won't get there eventually. And it doesn't mean that just because a person is brought to your country not knowing what to do or how to do it, or the way to do it, the way that you were brought up to do it, it doesn't mean they won't get there. It doesn't mean they won't find a way to do it that is good for them. And it doesn't mean that will never happen for yourself. Realize that you'll be able to get there too. And realize that the only reason why some people are given things is because they don't have families. They don't have loved ones sometimes. Like, they had loved ones and they don't anymore. Realize that when some people are given stuff, they had a family, they had people that they could trust, and then they were gone. Realize that happens far too often. And also realize that eventually that stuff won't happen anymore, because those people will either be dead or in jail. Who do that constantly. Who use religion or any kind of belief to be able to hurt someone else for their beliefs, or any kind of thing before their inconsistencies or shortcomings. Realize that that will be a thing of the past, and also realize that one day that those people constantly prey on anyone's life to be able to be. Oh my god! How are these so accurate? I just turned that corner. And this is going on for like way too long, but also that's kind of stuff makes you relax too. Realizing that eventually there will be no other people. That, I mean, I'm not saying that there will be like one love or whatever. I mean, I believe in one world government, but I don't believe that it's going to happen very soon. I don't believe it because there are still people who, not to say use information stupidly, but people who blame, cosmetically elected people as a conduit to say that the world has problems. To say that the world has problems because of Donald J. Trump. To say that the entire world has a problem because of what Donald J. Trump says. It's like, you don't listen to all the things that presidents say because some of them are fucking stupid. Yeah. You don't listen to everything that Obama said because one day he said that a celebrity was a jackass, even though he's a jackass because that's why he's so famous, because he's a jackass. Every celebrity does that sometimes to get back with the mainstream, to be able to get back into the public eye. He's not just a jackass, he is an advertising genius. They all are, because they all advertise themselves as stupid people to be able to be a spectacle on someone else's watch, or on someone else's phone, or on someone else's something. It's always what you want to be and how you want to be it, but realize that you make a subset for yourself. And I mean, I'm not trying to say that I don't want to say that Donald J. Trump is the problem, because I think the people are the problem. I think the people that believe that constant blaming of any president in the history of the United States is the problem. Because they believe that there's a problem with the system. And there is no problem with the system. There's a problem with what they believe is the system. And no matter what they believe is the system, they're always going to have a problem with it. Because they always want change. Because they're always going to want someone to think about something else besides what they did. Or besides what they said. Or besides how they said it. I don't care about presidents. I don't care about idiotic bureaucracies. I don't care about anything. Because if you can get one thing done, you can get everything done. It just takes enough people. And if we all act like we're citizens of the United States, or if the people who are not citizens try to actually become citizens, instead of telling us what the fuck to do all the time, and if those people who are actually try to become citizens, who can't become citizens, try again, because they can always try again.
Suspect westbound on Fort Zancudo Approach Road in Fort Zancudo.
But also realize that other governments are making it harder for everyone else too. Because they don't want everyone to leave their country. They don't want everyone to leave their stuff. They want people back at their countries working all their fucking mills and all their bullshit and all their places, because they think that that's what builds stuff for America. There may be a few things that are made in China or made in. I'm not talking about a few million things, but there may be a few billion things that are actually made in the United States, that are still in the United States to this day.
Dispatch, we got eyes on the target.
People.
Moving to engage.
And sometimes if you don't invest in yourself and you don't invest in your own businesses, then eventually that's what you become. You become a business or a business run by Donald J. Trump. Or, I mean, I'm not saying that's a terrible thing to be, but I'm saying that also he basically underpaid his entire workforce sometimes. But plenty of business leaders have done that. Because they're looking anywhere to save money, to where they can actually build themselves up or build their entire businesses up to the way that they want them to be, because they're a business owner first and foremost. Anyone who runs a business or tries to run a country is trying to build up the country to a certain point to where they're trying to make that country the best that it can be. But understandably so, they do it in a certain way. And Donald J. Trump likes to do it in the object of the enemy. That's his way. That's his thing. Every single president has had a different way to do it. They've all done it different ways, and they've all copied and tried to mimic each other in every single certain way. Obviously, people don't understand that there were situations and pictures that came out about Obama that were uncharacteristic of his wanting things, and things like Joe Biden constantly whispering into a young girl's ear. What he was telling her, I have no fucking clue, but it was a GIF on the internet. So, yeah, there's probably that. And also, I mean, there's plenty of things that people don't want to say or people don't want to do about every single president that ever existed. Because what are they? They're not normal, okay? Wanting a president is not normal, all right? Being someone who advertises everything that you're about is not normal. Or everything that you want to be about isn't normal, okay? Just being yourself usually is normal. So it's going to be very, very not normal what they do sometimes. And sometimes they're going to be so messed up and so completely turned around that they just lose it. It's not a normal job. You get paid shit compared to speaking to what you do. I mean, you get free stuff all the time, but understandably so, you should be getting a lot more free stuff if you're that good or that even close to being what you're supposed to be. Because you're constantly seeing and delivering information that could be classified to constant amounts of people coming into and outside of your office while you're dressing, while you're doing different things, while you're shaving, while you're doing different stuff. People are constantly doing stuff. They're constantly saying different things. They're constantly saying that, oh, well, somebody used to talk about their penis, or somebody used to talk about something. What the fuck does that even mean? Are you saying that a man in the back doesn't talk about his penis? Are you also saying that Gandhi is a crazy person? Yes, he was. He wrapped himself in sheets. Okay? People are stupid. Why would you not wear boxers? Or why would you not make freaking boxers when you have nothing but sheets available to you? Make something that fits. Don't be fucking lazy. Don't wear a goddamn man diaper and shit. God damn it. Because that's what they fucking used to do in the old times. Because it's airy, it's breezy, and my balls get the wind. That's what they did. That's the only reason they did it. Don't tell me that it's not the only reason they did it. Don't tell me that they think they wanted to be holier than thou. They wanted their balls to get a breeze. Or their vagina to get a breeze. That's it. There was no religious thing about it. They wanted their balls to get a breeze. Because there wasn't such thing as underwear. They wanted it. Don't tell me that it was somehow the garments of that era. They wanted their balls and their vaginas to get a breeze because it was fucking hot, and they know it. They know it was fucking hot back then because it was always fucking hot back then. Because all we have, I'd say, about actual things that actually happened was about biblical times in a place where it was constantly fucking hot. Or at least all that religion knows. I'm sure there's also all that science actually knows, and it was fucking hot there. They wanted their balls and vaginas to get a breeze. They didn't care about sex all the time because it was fucking hot, and activity makes you hot. It wasn't about science or religion or any kind of bullshit they were coming up with at this time. It was fucking hot. The whole time it was hot. Why the fuck would you want to rub against each other constantly? Why would you want to do that? Why? It's dumb. It's stupid. It's like, but if I rub against you, it gets really sweaty. So if people who enjoy that would probably do that often. And people would be like, why would you enjoy that? It's really hot outside. But it's like, you get muscular and stuff like that. It's like, there was a subset of different people who enjoyed that and also who didn't enjoy that. Those people judged all those other people. And then that's how they came up with the religion. It's people who thought it was hot and people who didn't care. And that's pretty much how religion was made, probably. And then they were like, why do you lead this life? How do you lead this life? Asking questions and bullshit. Every single political climate or anything was made because they had a certain subset of questions to ask people, or to be able to get into their lives, or to be able to not get into their lives. And then that's how that was made, is those subset of questions that they asked themselves and other people. And how they standed on different things. Because sometimes they didn't care enough to be able to do that. And when they didn't care enough, they're still a country. Or they're not a country anymore. Take Saudi Arabia, for example. That country got fucked. Seriously. I mean, and sometimes people got fucked everywhere in the Middle East. And raped, and beaten, and stoned, and a whole bunch of different shit. And nobody said a goddamn word. And that's the reason why no one likes the Middle East. Because almost everyone there is guilty. Almost everyone there was guilty for something, or someone. There's such thing as assault in America. So if they want to come here, and if they want to act the way that they were acting in the other country, or they were acting then they can get a fucking charge. Because, and I also know that they didn't act the way that the biblical people acted. I mean, I'm not saying that everything is about biblical, but I'm saying that that's the derivative of what people used to do, and people still do to this day. I'm saying that there are people who still hunt witches, and stone women, and burn them. I'm not saying that sucks ass, and it still happens. But what is everyone going to do about it? Are they just going to allow that shit to happen because they think that it's working, or think that it's doing something? Or think that other women are like prostituting themselves out because they don't have any other way to do anything, because their hands are fucking bleeding from sewing shit? Because their backs are broken from dudes fucking them until they didn't want to do anything anymore? Think about this, okay? Think about the way that our climate is right now, and think about the way that their climate is right now. I'm not saying that we should take everyone in, but I'm saying that they should have a better place to be. They shouldn't have the leaders that they have. All of them are terrible. All of them are stupid, and they resort to violence way too quickly. Including North Korea. Including any sort of thing, like the way that Russia treated us in the 70s and 60s and 50s and the 40s and all those other political climates, that everyone hated each other and in secrecy probably told each other everything, and we're like, the KGB and the CIA, they're with you all the time. It's like, no, dude. It's like, you have to make friends in order to make other people stop doing the stupid shit that they're doing. It's like, in order for women to not be burned at the fucking cross and you to not have a fucking problem anymore, people have to go. And people have to stay. It's like, in order for you not to feel threatened every single fucking day and have a Boston bombing every single fucking week, or a 9/11 every single Tuesday, sometimes the borders need to be closed for an unbeknownst little amount of time. But understandably so, those borders will open back up again. And not when that president gets out of office. It's a temporary closing. Because sometimes people get fucked up and try to get into certain areas. And no, it wasn't building 7. Did Bush really do it? No. Bush isn't... He's a president. How would he have time to create an entire conspiracy about that unless he had all the help that he could ever get? It's because our borders were constantly open and people were talking shit about every single person, and they were all listening. It's that there were constant hackers constantly talking to other people that were hired by other different countries and constantly giving us the horrible fucking name. It's that every single time we didn't want to do something about something, everyone else blamed us because they thought that we were the ones causing it. Because we didn't have a political climate to be able to talk about it, different things to different people. We didn't have the means to be able to say to dispute different things that people were hearing about us. And you want to say that, oh my God, it was the CIA and the FBI and the NSA and all that other different stuff. But you know what? If they weren't there in the first place, then no one would be fucking alive to begin with. Right now. No one would be alive. Everyone would be fucking dead. Everyone would be like shot somehow, or gang violence or gang related bullshit. Or people will be like, oh my God, you don't want to get drugs from this one dude? Well, he controls the rest of the town, so he's gonna shoot you in the fucking face and break all your family's legs. And that's what it would be. That's what it would be constantly in America. If people would just sit down and realize that, you know what, sometimes they were the only people that anyone would ever talk about, or that anyone could ever talk about. And if we don't have a way to be able to communicate with different people and to let them know that we're not the ones doing that bullshit, we're not the ones okaying bullshit that they have, and if even we were, then there's fucked up people in office that need to go bye-bye. To realize that we're not the ones responsible for absolutely everything across the board. To realize that, you know what? No, it's not always Russia. No, it's not always Serbia or Syria or any of that people. It's fucked up people enlisting people to do stupid fucking shit at any point in time. And sometimes people are just made up of private security companies. And no government issued place can rule anything out if they don't know the actual cold hard facts. And that's why everything gets speculated on constantly, all the time, every single day. So, I mean, why would you not want to not think about that stuff sometimes? Why would you not want to say, if you all don't start acting well and fucking behave yourself sometimes, then everybody's gonna die. Everyone. No one's gonna make it out. No one's gonna have any kids, and we're all just gonna die as a race. And you fucking idiots aren't gonna realize that it's just the world changing. It's not you because of you or because of anything that you're doing. It's the world constantly changing because those places weren't always covered in fucking ice. It's literally already been seen in everything that everyone is. Everyone's at. There's literally been seeds there. Why the fuck would there be seeds if that place always had ice? If Antarctica and any of those places, you don't see the world changing around you, then you're gonna die anyways. I'm not saying that there's anyone that should help you if you don't want to help yourself. But I'm saying that if you don't realize and don't prepare, I mean, mothers be aware, and your daughters and sons, to everyone to prepare. I'm so fucking stupid, but once you realize that it's not just the president's fault, once you realize that it's not just anyone's fault, it's a culmination of people making fucking mistakes constantly because of miscommunications and bullshit and constant people taking advantage of a system that literally didn't know what it was until about the 80s. Because there were no phones, there were no things, there wasn't this that I could actually say different things on. Shit, awesome. Don't blame your presidents because of stupid fucking bullshit economy bullshit. Don't blame your stupid fucking idiotic friends or idiotic stupid fucking people because of an economy problem that's been there for 20 fucking years. Realize that a recession was inevitable because fucking banks didn't want to foot the bill for constant people not paying their goddamn mortgages or constantly investing their money into something that always didn't pay off. Realize that as ourselves, we have been constantly making the worst fucking choices as an economy. Constantly hoping for the best and constantly looking onward to different things instead of preparing for the worst. Because we never prepared for the worst because we don't think it'll ever get that bad. But guess what? It was that bad. It was always that bad. It always could get that bad. And if you don't prepare for the worst, then why would you ever be able to be there for the best? I'm not saying that, like, how could you ever be there for the best if you don't prepare for the worst? I mean, you can enjoy a moment and stuff like that, but like, if you're not ready to camp out, motherfucker, then how could you be able to enjoy the best of things and actually make it mean something? It's like, how could you ever enjoy something being brought to you on a plate that's just fucking delicious if you weren't fucking trying one day to be able to make yourself make and prepare those exact meals? How could you ever appreciate it? But in the same sense, would you ever want it to get that bad that you couldn't prepare your own meal? Would you ever want it to get that bad or that horrible in that situation to where you wouldn't be able to make yourself survive? I know stupid shit is happening, and I know that people are constantly just, oh, it's always just this and always just that. But one day it's not always going to be that. One day it's not going to be that. And if you're not prepared monetarily or even situationally or even know-how, like resourcefulness, then how are you able to make it and be able to call yourself a survivor or even a person? And then people think that that America does that because somebody has to be ill-prepared, because somebody has to die, right? And they're wrong, and everyone who thinks that way is wrong, because no one has to die. Because we can find a way to immortality without putting robotic parts in our fucking bodies, because it's fucking stupid. I mean, think about it. Of all the fucking metal poisonings we fucking have wrong with us. Our shelf life would literally be like 35 to 40 days if we chopped ourselves up and put ourselves into something terrible. But understandably so, there are people that don't have those things in themselves, and sometimes need those augments. But they're augments. That's all they are. They're not like, oh, you're not going to become a robot and be saved on a memory chip. Realize that that is just a culmination of what you actually experience, and it's not actually you. And unless they make biomechanical chips, they're not going to create babies that can think for themselves. They're going to create programs that think accordingly to the way that that person thought 1,000 years ago, but only thinks in a certain way, and never can be able to come out of a pattern. You're basically creating an animal. But understandably so, be the right kind of person for yourself. If you want to make something, if you want to be someone, and if anyone wants to watch ever, realize that if you're not relaxed, then we'll never ever get to that point. If you're not, I'd say, being there for yourself, then no one's ever gonna be there for you. Because in real life, people help people who help themselves. I'm not saying you help yourself to someone's stuff. I'm saying you help yourself and you know where you are. Not your place. Saying when you know where you are, it means not you know who not to fuck with, because that's jail talk. If you know who not to fuck with, you know just as much information as pretty much anyone else out there. But if you know the right impression to make, if you know the right sense to make to yourself, then there's no way that we could ever die. Then there's no way that we could always never be immortal. The only way that comes to the kingdom of any sort of heaven, or any haven, or any Zion, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is us thinking as a group. Not saying that we're constantly connected, not saying that we're constantly the reason for something, or something's watching us constantly and we need to talk about what we're doing or something like that. Say we need to be a team. As humanity, we need to be a team and stop acting like everyone's gonna fuck us up if we do the wrong thing. But also realize that sometimes people don't make the right choices in life. And they didn't have a choice to be able to make the right choices when they were coming up. But it doesn't mean they don't get that chance. That eventually, it's not brainwashing. And I don't think it is brainwashing when people make the right choice. And when they make the right choice, it's right for everyone, and everyone gets to fucking survive. And it's not deluded to be able to think that. It's not deluded to be able to think that. And granted, I'm playing a terrible game, I guess, to be able to send that message, but it's not deluded to be able to think that everyone makes it out alive. starting to realize that I might be an okay person. All right. Whoo! Time to blow something up. Blowing a thing up, blowing a thing up. Shit, I forgot. Okay. I'm just gonna do this. Blow up that train. With that car. This has been game therapy, and I'm just gonna keep throwing grenades until a car hits it. And this has been game therapy. If you listen, then oh yeah.
No way.
If you ever do listen, thank you. And if you ever listen, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. So that's the kind of stuff that makes me relax, though. Not thinking about any of that stupid bullshit that constantly makes me want to cry or want to change the goddamn world. Because the world shouldn't have to change, and people should change. People should change to be able to survive the world, because we're all experiencing the world. We're all experiencing this world, just constantly changing and constantly moving and constantly being something else because of what everyone thinks we do to it. But it's going to change anyways. It's going to change anyways. The sun will get hotter, and we'll eventually find ships to be able to go to a different planet that'll accept our kind of life. And we'll be aliens to them, or stupid shit, or eventually. Because it's going to be billions of years from now. But understandably so, it's probably never going to be the end of this world. It's never going to mean the end of this mass, basically. Because mass equals, what is it? Energy equals mass times the speed of light, and mass is just carbon, and energy itself, kind of flipped onto itself, I guess. It's like reversed into itself, kind of, as far as a nucleus and radius go, because we're all made of energy anyways. So think about it like this: if anyone, I'm not saying just God or whatever, if anyone wanted to make you fight another motherfucker, another person, if anyone wanted to make you fight someone, do you really think they made you? Do you really think they actually did make you? Even if they made the experiment that made you, or made the having sex that made you, but if you think that they made you make yourself, that they were the chemical reaction that made your ass, do you really think that they would be thinking like that? They weren't the chemical reaction that made your ass. They weren't the chemical reaction that fucking made you. So why would you go around listening to someone who wants to kill you, or wants to kill someone else because of that action? I'm not talking about just Americans or any international fucking threats or bullshit. I'm talking about anyone. If anyone wants someone to be murdered because of them, because they think that their chemical reaction is better than your chemical reaction, who gives a flying fuck? The more you think about what makes us tick and what makes us go round, the more you find out the literal secrets of the universe that anyone would fight for, but no one is ever getting. And if you yell at if you yell at someone enough, then that person becomes just a negative human. It takes a chemical reaction of them just seeing the light and seeing past you, or past a different person that's fucking them over, to be able to see that, you know what, maybe you shouldn't fucking murder people, Or maybe you shouldn't try to rape people because it's just a fucking terrible thing to do and you don't need a goddamn book to tell you so. Realize that we evolve no matter what. But if we do it slowly, then we keep it. Then we don't lose it over time. Then we just change with the world because the world changes us. Every single day we live on it. Not inside of it, obviously, because we're not inside of a fucking world. We're inside of its gravitational force. That's it. That's the kind of stuff that makes me relaxed. Problem solving. I'd like to say that this this live stream is not brought to you by Monster Energy Drink, Assassin's Creed Origins. It's a video game that's probably going to be played by me eventually, so... thank you for listening, if you ever do. This has been Game Therapy with Joe Bomb Squad. And it's really, really cold in this living room. Jeez. Gosh, I don't have a shirt on. At least not smell good because